The addition of named queries in Ignition version 7.9.4 also introduced a new type of binding, the named query binding. This type of binding allows you to select one of your pre-configured named queries and pass in parameters using values from either tags or other components on the window. Let's take a look at how we can set up a named query binding using a simple table component for our data and a text field that we'll use to enter in a parameter value. We need to select our table, find the data property, and then open up the binding window for that property. You should see the new named query binding in the database section. Since the named query is pre-configured, setting up the binding is really simple. We start by selecting the path to our named query. I only have one here, so I'm going to select that one. And since we can't modify the query here in the binding, we simply need to select a value for our parameter. You'll notice on the right, we have both the property binding icon and the tag binding icon to bind either a value from a component on a window or a tag value. Since I'm going to be entering in a parameter value into that text field that I just added to the window, I'm going to go ahead and open up my property binding window and find my text field, and then select the text property to use for the parameter. You'll notice that it's automatically entered in the path to that property. Finally, I'm going to select to leave the polling mode off, since anytime I change the parameter, it'll automatically re-query the database with the new parameter value. So I'm just going to select the OK button to save my changes. My query is currently returning no rows into the table, but it's automatically populated the column names. This is because I don't have any value entered into the text field, so it's not returning anything because my where clause is empty. However, if I put the designer into preview mode and enter in a value into the text field, you'll notice that my query now returns some rows with the bay number of 2 that I specified. In addition, changing the parameter value that I pass in automatically updates the query.